Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Woolley from Cloud9 Spain. With me today, I'm delighted to have Simon Boxus, Chief Commercial Officer of Habeno Mortgages. And I've been trying to get Simon on for quite a while now. And actually, your availability is great, Simon, because we're going to be talking about a recent report that you guys commissioned into, admittedly, your own stats and your own findings, but I'm sure that our listeners and our viewers will find it interesting. So let's kick off. First of all, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Can we start with just a little explanation of Habeno and who you are, what you do, and how you're different to maybe other mortgage brokers out there?
Okay. Well, what we have put on the market 2 years ago now is a digitalization of the mortgage process. We all know that Spain has got a very antiquated bank system, mortgage system, which a lot of foreign clients found very difficult to deal with. So what we have done is to actually look at all the steps that are involved within the client's journey to actually do their mortgages and automate and digitalize the maximum of it. So making a much easier and faster process for the clients. We have been working step by step within the client's journey on this over the last 2 years, and now we are really ready with a real digital platform of the new system of doing a mortgage in Spain and also in Portugal.
And what are the key advantages for the client then? Is it mainly speed? Because I know from personal experience, having been in the business for 20 years, that you're right in what you say. To get an agreement in principle, for instance, from a Spanish bank is difficult because they normally want to link it to a property. So they say, well, I can't tell you how much you can spend because I don't know what property you're going to buy. I guess in this case with Habeno is that you can assess a client's affordability very quickly, and that then gives the client the peace of mind to go for it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at, first of all, a pre-approval on the client's profile, so they don't need to have identified the property yet. Actually, a lot of clients that we have not started to visit property yet. Mm-hmm. They check what would be the maximum amount of mortgage available for them in the country, and with that, set the budget of what they can actually go and visit. We actually do this pre-approval within 24 hours with no documentation. So very, very easy step for the clients. And then they actually start to engage our services. Now, within all of this speed that we have been achieving with all the technology we have implemented, once the client has got the pre-approval and they actually take on our services, once they have actually supplied the documentation, we are now able to actually give a full binded offer from banks within 3 days.
Wow.
So that is really a big change in the market of the mortgages.
That's a game changer.
Totally.
I mean, certainly the pre-approval is really useful for a client and for us as agents because we can assess how much the budget can be. And I guess as long as the client hasn't lied about their income and liabilities on the form,
exactly,
I don't think there's any reason why they would. But that does give people a really good idea of where to head with a budget and affordability. And the fact that you can get that within 24 hours is amazing.
Totally.
And then the fact you can get, once they've submitted their all the bits and pieces that you need, all the documentation, the fact that they can then get a binding agreement within 3 days of that is fantastic as well.
It's a real change. And one of the big advantages as well is that through our platform, once we have received the documentation of the clients, we actually digitalize their profile, and that profile is distributed to all the banks that we collaborate with that will accept that specific profile, and therefore we actually show the clients a benchmarking of offers. So therefore they've got a comparison, and they've got the advice from a mortgage advisor from our team to actually see why this offer is more favored than this one, etc. We actually negotiate with the banks the best conditions possible, etc. So a lot of the older system, the client was only seeing one offer from one bank. Now with our system, we normally try to show every client at least 4 offers.
That's great. So effectively, you're saying this is our client. Look how amazing they are, and you're getting the banks to bid for that business.
Exactly. We have reversed the system. We don't actually approach a bank asking for a mortgage for this client, we make them work in competition to offer a mortgage, to actually present an offer for this profile.
Great.
So, yes.
Very, very good. Well, listen, let's touch on the report that you guys recently commissioned, which is very interesting. So I think it was from July to October of 2023?
July to October, and comparing with the figures we did on the same period last year.
Okay. And there were 5 key findings that you guys came up with. And just to qualify this, that it was based on your applicants only, so
yes.
No other mortgage broker. It was just people who'd come through your system and your company. So the first one that you noticed was that the interest rates are increasing.
Yeah.
I think we talked off air just before we did this to say that it looks like those interest rates are now kind of, hopefully, have reached a peak and they're starting to plateau a little bit. And maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed for me anyway, that they start coming down a little bit next year. But over the last 3 or 4 months, they were just increasing slightly, weren't they?
I mean, they have been increasing. It has been a shock on the market, no? I mean, everybody involved with mortgages in Spain or knowing mortgages were used to the 0 Euribor or negative Euribor. Then the increase started. People were shocked because it had been so long in negative. People forgot that in 2002 we were on a Euribor of 5%. Yeah. That was long gone from our memory, no? Obviously, it has been a shock at the beginning, even though the people have not been actually reacting negatively to it. People are still taking mortgages, etc. Now, since we have issued the report, the Central Bank of Europe has put a ceiling at 4.5 for the Euribor. Last month closed at an average of 4.04 for October. Today we're on 4%. I mean, there is many reports available out there from specialists analyzing this, etc., where they say we should be nearly at the top of these increases. I mean, let's see. I mean, we hope that it will effectively plateau. Mm-hmm. And then if you actually listen to these specialists, they expect to see the drop coming within the next 2 years.
And most mortgage products are linked to Euribor, aren't they? So it's
right.
Euribor plus whatever they add on, whether it's 1%, 2%.
Yeah.
And that's the negotiating part, or certainly what comprises different offers from different banks, isn't it? They will add on a different figure.
Yeah, exactly.
Depending on the bank and depending on the product and the risk profile and all those sorts of things. Interesting that people are still applying for mortgages. This was your second key finding.
Yeah.
So although interest rates have gone up alarmingly for us who have been used to those historically low interest rates, but for people 15, 20 years ago when or longer, when interest rates were 15%, it's still cheap money, isn't it? And I think a lot of people who are applying for mortgages probably lived through those times as well, and are still reckon it's cheap money. And so people are still applying for lending, aren't they?
They are. I mean, where we see that there is probably a bit less demand is really the lower part of the market. Okay. Because obviously a difference on a monthly cost of 200 or 300 euros on a mortgage repayment might make a big difference for them. Mm-hmm. That sort of segment seems to be waiting for some good news. So they are putting the decision a little bit on hold. No, the mid-market and the high market is demanding mortgages as before. We actually see a lot of people that are actually surprised that we can actually offer a mortgage at 3.6% at the moment, because they say, wow, in my country it's 7 or 8%. So they say, why wouldn't I take it? So it depends also where the client comes from, but we're increasing the amount of mortgage we sign every month. And so on that side, we see that people, yes, are still demanding it, obviously tax reasons, etc., keeping part of the capital available. The same reason will keep going as much as we carry on.
Your third finding was that most applicants need help finding a property, and they know their limits. So people come to you before they found the perfect property generally, just to get an idea of how they fit in and where their budget is.
Totally. I mean, obviously, we've got 2 ways of getting clients. We collaborate a lot with estate agents like yourself, etc. When a client comes in from an estate agent, normally is because they are already within a process of deciding a property, or they are just thinking, I'm going to put a deposit tomorrow. We also have a direct marketing where the clients I get is the same as you get. Mr. on his sofa on a Sunday, I'm thinking of Spain. Let's see what I can get available. Let's see if I can get a mortgage in Spain. So that sort of client often asks us, now that I know what I can spend, who should I work with? What estate agents can I trust? So a lot of the clients ask us this.
Right, very good. The fourth key finding was that the demand for a fast mortgage process is skyrocketing in your words. So, how have you found that? People just want a quick answer, quick response.
They want, I mean, obviously, when you buy a property, you want it now, first of all.
We want it yesterday.
And when we've got a client with a property identified, they are often linked to a deadline within the contract with the person they're buying from. I mean, at the moment, with the speed of things that we have achieved, we have gone from right at the beginning of the operation of Habeno, when we were totally manual, we had not started to digitalize anything. It was taking us 15, 16 weeks to organize a mortgage. We then went down to 8 weeks, 6 weeks. We are now at 5 weeks, and we've got the ambition to get to 3 weeks very soon. First thing that we look at when a file comes on our table is there a deadline? Sometimes clients actually do it a little bit late. Oh, I've got a deadline in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks. Okay, the team will do everything that they can on it, and we will try to negotiate even with the lawyers of the vending party a little extension on the deadline if needed. Mm-hmm. Okay, but yes, people want to sign it as soon as possible. That's always.
My next question is what sort of mortgage products are people getting? This relates to your fifth key finding, talking about hybrid rates.
Yes.
Because obviously there's always been that, what do I go for? Should I go for the variable? Should I go for the fixed? I made a mistake when I bought my property. Interest rates it was 2 years ago, only 2 years ago, and interest rates were at their bare minimum. And I was actually warned, someone said, there's only one way this is going to go. And I was offered a variable rate mortgage on great terms, and I took it. I wish I'd, shock horror, I wish I'd gone for the fixed, over 10 years or 30 years or whatever. So what are most people choosing to do at the moment?
If you take into account that we've got really 3 kinds of rates for the clients. We've got the variable. Hybrid, what is hybrid is where we fix 3 years and then go on variable, and then we've got the fixed rates. Now, funny enough, on the last 2 months, the exit rate, what we call it, that we get for clients on variable on our hybrid are the same. What is the exit rate? Is the rate that will be charged for the first year. Okay, so variable we've got at the moment 3.6, 3.7. Okay, hybrid we actually fix that 3.6, 3.7 for 3 years, and then we go on to variable. Or we've got the fixed rates, which are available only for clients that work in euros, which we get at about 4.25 at the moment. People tend to go on the hybrid rates. Why? Because if you actually Google mortgages rates, etc., linked to Euribor, you will find many reports from experts that are talking about the fact that we are getting to the peak of the increases, and that over the next 2 years, they expect a drop on the interest rates. So therefore, people actually say, okay, I'm going to go on the safe way, fix myself for 3 years, and then play the lottery, sort of thing, no? And then go on back onto the variable. That is what is favored at the moment.
That makes sense. And you can help, obviously, clients talking through those options as to which are maybe the best options for them personally.
Yes, totally. I mean, the platform of Habeno is a digital platform where the clients got everything online, etc. But we also have the human side of it. Every client is assigned a mortgage advisor. And the mortgage advisor, even though the client can see everything online, the mortgage advisor will have a session, a consultation with the client to actually go through these 4 or 5 offers that we have sent, tell them, okay, I personally would recommend this one because of this, because of that, because of the interest rate, because of the fixed part, etc. And they will have the full information before deciding, okay, let's press the button, I go with that bank, and we carry on to completion.
Really good. Just finishing off, you obviously, the stats are telling us where your clients are coming from. A lot from Scandinavia, can't even say it, Scandinavia even, Holland and Belgium. Then the UK is kind of the third biggest group of people. But Scandinavia and Benelux, that was interesting.
The Scandinavia is a totally natural thing for us because obviously our head office is in Sweden, in Stockholm. Our operations are here in Marbella. So when we actually started all the technology, we piloted that technology with Swedish client buying on the Costa del Sol. Okay, we've got a very close relationship with a lot of Swedish agencies. So we've got a big part of Scandinavian clients, but I think that is all over the coast anyway as well. Holland and Belgium are very, very strong buyers on the coast. UK is still there. And we started also to serve the Spanish clients.
I see that.
Our platform was actually developed with the aim to help the international clients read the non-resident mortgage. But more and more residents, either Spanish people or foreigners living in Spain, tax residents in Spain, have started to ask for our help. Probably because they don't have the perfect profile, that easy, that they go to the bank and within a short time it is authorized. So we have started to actually serve the resident market as well.
It's interesting because North America makes an appearance, which is what we've noticed as well, quite a significant chunk. Germany, Poland. And then what interests me is that pretty much a quarter of your clients come from the rest of the world. And it's like, we're the same. We're coming across countries I didn't even know existed. Are there any countries that are blacklisted at the moment?
Totally. I mean, now we have had applications from about 50 countries. We have signed mortgages with 25 nationalities. Okay, it's not the fact that a nationality is blacklisted; it's their currency. Okay, yeah. So the Central Bank of Spain has got a list of currency not accepted, but each bank have got their own list as well. Now we keep a very close eye on that list on a monthly basis. Where we see more changes is Eastern European countries, not because they are involved with Ukraine in a conflict, but because the banks think that the economy might not be stable because of the conflict. Now, we've got the list available always for estate agents and for clients. Now, sometimes a currency that is not authorized by the bank can be sorted out if the client buys through a Spanish company, a new constituted company, part of the buying process. So sometimes it's just a consultation for us to call the bank and say, would you accept somebody from that country that is not showing on your list? Yeah, I can take it if they buy through a company.
Okay, so there is a little bit of flexibility there that you can work around. Fantastic. Thank you so much for all of that. Very interesting stats, very interesting report. If you are interested in finding out how much you could borrow, we'll put the link at the bottom of this video where you can just go up there. I think it takes a few minutes, doesn't it, just to fill out the form, and you'll get an idea very quickly of how much you can borrow if you're telling the truth. So thank you so much for that. And until next time. Cheers.
Okay.